the YouTube. There we go. Good evening, YouTube. Hello and welcome to episode 22 of Ask Miss Elle Live. I'm so glad that you are all joining us today. Now, if you want to type along with this chat up there that you see going on, you can join my community at any time. Meet all of these wonderful, beautiful, crazy kinksters. Say hello. Join what I consider to be the best, most inclusive, loving, kink-friendly community out there. Come join us, patreon.com/LXerotica, and that's how you can get access to all of our live events, bonus content, exclusive, all kinds of shit. Go over to patreon.com/LXerotica and join us, because that's where we're typing along this evening, YouTube, because we got another round of juicy questions. How are you doing, Shy? I see that you're typing. How you doing? So we have, I was going through reviewing all of the questions today in preparation for this live, and there were so many. I took, usually I do a Q&A every other week, and there were 2 weeks in between the Q&As. There's lots of questions that we're discussing tonight. So, I'm doing well, Shy. Thank you. Today's been probably the best day that I've had since the weekend so far. I think I can start tapering off of my meds tomorrow. So yes, my body's doing better. I can start tapering off of some meds. Yeah, it always sucks when I get a flare-up. So thank you for checking in. Hello, little lemon. It is wonderful news, Sir Joe. So happy to... I know, me too. Me too. Poor Mr. B is doesn't know what to do when I'm not feeling well, because it goes from all of this energy to I want to crawl up in a blanket and not talk to anyone and just die. So very different energy. So yes, doing well, recovering nicely. Thank you all for checking in, for your love, for your concern. And as I was saying, YouTube, we've got about over a dozen questions tonight, straight from this community. So I think we just jump into them, because if I spend 5 minutes on each question, we're going to be here for an hour, and we all know I'm going to spend more than 5 minutes on a question. So let's jump into it today. Where's my... Oh, I have to get my iPad. Hold on. Okay, I knew I was forgetting something. This is rapid fire. It's going to be rapid fire because we got a lot of questions to go through tonight. So let me pull them up wherever they are. Okay, fantastic. So did I mention, as we were closing last time, Fellow's question about why do subtypes find it necessary to use masochism as a way to validate their depth or level of submission? I'm recalling that I ranted on that one a little bit last time. Does anyone recall if that was just in my head or I actually talked about it last live? I thought I talked about it last live. You don't recall it when it was clipping? Anyone else recall or don't recall? I feel like I did. Maybe it was... Oh, you know what? Maybe it was on the podcast. Did I go on that rant on the podcast? The topic rings a bell. Scandy, were you there for the podcast? I ranted on it on the podcast. It was in the podcast. Okay. So, if you would like to find out my take on why submissives use masochism as a gauge to compare themselves against other submissives, subscribe to my podcast, Conscious Kink. It's on Spotify and Amazon right now. I'm working on getting it on Apple and other platforms. So yes, you can search for it, Conscious Kink. It's on my Linktree. You can get links to it here on YouTube, on Instagram, on my Twitter. So anyway, at LXerotica on the socials, you can get connected to my podcast, Conscious Kink. Episode 2 and 3 are dropping this month. So go check it out. Go check it out because I answered it really, really well in that podcast. And I'm just going to clip that and share it with you later. So next question. Someone said they're interested in how or if long distance BDSM relationships could work. Also looking for ideas on aftercare if a long distance scenario was created. So yes, absolutely. You can be in a long distance BDSM relationship. Absolutely. As far as aftercare ideas go in a distance dynamic, this one to me is pretty easy if you just use a little bit of creativity. So if we think about what is the purpose of aftercare, and a lot of people have different takes on exactly the specific purpose, and I think the purpose can shift a little bit depending on what kind of scene you had, but essentially, if we're panning out and really being very broad in our definition of aftercare, essentially aftercare is the space to kind of come back down to earth, so to speak. It's a place to get reconnected, grounded back in your body, get any hydration or nutrition that you need. It's basically we are caring for the after effects of our scene. Would you say that's fair, chat? If I were to really get panned out, I know that it varies from scene to scene, but if we were to get really broad, really panned out, would you say that's a fair assessment? We are caring for the after effects of the scene. Okay. So if that's our general broad kind of definition, then I don't feel that distance could make or break that. If you lead your submissive through a scene long distance, or you work them through a punishment long distance, and there is a call for aftercare, it's like a post-workout recovery. Yes. So if this is at a distance, anything that would facilitate that care, that regrounding, that reconnection from dom to sub and vice versa, you can absolutely accomplish from a distance. You could send your submissive a little goodie box of things. Use like a food delivery app or something like that and send them a box of goodies after the aftercare. You could send them a blanket and a stuffy with your perfume or cologne on it, that's their aftercare blanket or their aftercare stuffy, and it has a sensory element. You can get your submissive like a weighted blanket or something like that where it feels like your arms are around them or you're with them physically. I mean, you can do so many things from a distance. You just use some creativity. Even just staying online with them, whether it be over the phone or voice chat, something like that, or video chat, video chat, something like that, where they feel your presence, they can hear your voice, they can hear your soothing and your comforting, things like that are all very, very doable ways of connecting and helping your submissive calm down from an aftercare or from a scene in aftercare. Personally love just chatting, being told you're loved, being told to cuddle with stuffies and weighted blankets. Absolutely. But specifically, so yes, long distance relationships are still relationships. All you have to do is be creative in the distance. But long distance relationships are still relationships. And long distance dynamics are still dynamics. So yes, absolutely. It can absolutely be done. But specifically, and I want to answer this question in tandem with another question that came in, saving me some time here. Let's see. Okay. Was it the crashes? I think it was the crashes. Okay. Specific after, yeah, absolutely. You could even have your submissive like change into a specific outfit, or they have a ritual. So like you spend some time, on video chat or voice chat or whatever with them. Make sure they're coming down okay. You walk them through maybe getting a snack or something like that. And then they know they have a ritual, and that ritual could be clean any toys that were used in a very slow, methodical, mindful way. Then they are to take a bath or a shower. And then they are to change into this specific outfit or do a specific task that would help facilitate their crash a little bit. So really, dominants just pan out a little bit, use some creativity, and keep the focus on this safety, connection, and regrounding. And specifically, I wanted to answer this question in tandem, like I said a moment ago, with another question about dom crashes, because my answer can be applied to both, whether this is a dom crash or a sub crashing in aftercare. Here's the other question here that I'm going to tie it all in together. So this question says, I've been considering my dom crashes lately. These crashes are extremely low and take me a lot of time to recover. In extreme cases, it can take me days to recover properly. When I'm in these states for too long, my sub gets very anxious and loses confidence. Do you have any advice on how to recover my flow faster or ways to communicate to my sub that everything is fine? We just need to get back to equilibrium. And I think there's another one. Yes. Okay. So all of these kind of go hand in hand, and then I'm going to branch off with specific answers to each. And then another question that plays into this is, what are strategies for dealing with post-play session drop being the lows experienced after your play weekend is over? What things should someone be mindful of to minimize or mitigate the often desolate and or feelings of depression? So any of you in the chat, whether you're top or bottom, you been there? Have you ever had that crash after really intense play or a play weekend, either top or bottom, where you kind of just feel down? You feel kind of empty. Even though it was fantastic, you kind of just feel like, oh, I just can't kind of get my bearing again. Okay. So we're going to talk science. Are you ready? Because that's what's happening. Okay. It's not just in your head. It has nothing to do with quality of play. I mean, to a certain degree it does, but really this is brain chemicals science. Yes. So let's talk about it. Because it's different when you top. Yes, absolutely. You would love to hear the answer. Fantastic. Okay. So it's very different when you top and when you bottom. Absolutely. I experienced a completely different sensation. I noticed that when I crash from my top space, I will get really, really cerebral. So when I'm like super present in my body and I'm in flow and I'm just with my submissive in that energetic space, I'm very present. I tend to be very cerebral though, and in my head. And so I've noticed that my dom drop, it like swings to the other direction. And I go very, very, very cerebral. And that's part of my transition versus when I'm on the bottom side as a sexual bottom, my crash is just like, my brain is like just blissed out. I don't want to move. I just want to cuddle and snuggle and take a nap and have a snack. It's very, very different. Very different because different things are ignited in different portions of the brain. So either way, though, there is a consistent response that happens in the brain, in the mind, in the body. So for your reference, just think of the word does, DOES, does. And does, in our case here, stands for dopamine, oxytocin, we've got serotonin, and we've got endorphins. So when we're dealing with these four big chemical releases, I want you to think of them in different categories. So we have dopamine being the reward chemical in the brain. So dopamine is what keeps you motivated. It's what makes you like, ooh, I want to get up and do things, okay? Oxytocin is the love chemical. It makes you feel lovey-dovey and horny and feisty and all of that. We've got endorphins, which often result in pain relief, good feelings in the body, okay? And then we also have our serotonin. So, and our serotonin is for mood. So we basically have these 4 chemicals that are going off when we have our scenes, when we have our playtime. And these 4 chemicals shoot up. I mean, it's like all of these beautiful explosions going on, and you feel it. You feel it, subs. You feel it, doms, where you're either locked into flow and you're feeling super confident and like super powerful, and nothing can sway you and nothing can move you. And you are just so focused and so present and so grounded and so locked in, and you're feeling on top of the world. Or submissives, you're just like blissed out and drooling or subpuddled, whatever you want to call it, however you quantify it. That is the physical and emotional responses to these chemicals just shooting off because you had such a great time, you had such great play. Well, if they go up that high, they're going to come back down. Our body's goal is homeostasis. It wants to settle itself, essentially. That's why you shiver when you're cold, because your body's trying to warm up, and that's why you sweat when you're hot. Your body's trying to cool down. It's trying to reach homeostasis. That's your body's goal at all times, homeostasis. So if you have all of these chemicals shooting up, they're gonna come back down and crash. And that's literally what you all experience when you're referring to these things, when you're referring to your dom crash, when you're referring to the feelings of just loneliness and emptiness. Is this crash is happening. So science is sexy. Thank you, Shy. I'm glad you think so. So with that being said, to answer the first question here, as far as aftercare, drop, minimizing or mitigating the desolation or the feelings of depression, I would say, because it was a dom who asked me that question, I would say the best thing that you could do is break it down for your submissive so that your submissive knows this is a normal reaction. Nothing scary is happening. Nothing bad is happening. This is a normal reaction. And if you can help dominance, if you can help your submissive put words to the experience they're feeling, you can give them a lot of power back. So for instance, if they're just crashing and they're feeling really lonely and really desolate and all of these things, and they're coming to you crying or freaking out about these emotions, then you can comfort those emotions and soothe those emotions. Obviously, everything's okay. Everything's going to be fine. You're okay. But then additionally, you can explain to them, here's what's happening. We just played and it was really good. And all of these chemicals were up here. Now they're just coming down a little bit. And unfortunately, you might feel some feelings that have to do with these chemical reactions. But it's temporary. And it's totally normal and it's totally natural and it will pass. And until it passes, we're going to rest and we're going to chill and we're going to have a great time connecting to one another. Does that make sense? Yes. Yes. That warning is it can be really helpful for submissives who struggle with anxiety. That can be really helpful to step your submissive through that. And in the moment, comfort them, but also explain to them what is happening so that they don't feel like their body is betraying them. They don't start disassociating, all of those things. Sometimes all we need to know is like just defining what's happening with our body. We can experience really, really strong, intense sensations with our body, but if we know these are safe, intense sensations, then it can make it a lot easier to process the emotions that go along with it. Does that make sense? Any other thoughts, perspectives, questions? Okay, so real quick, and I'm actually going to do a full video about this if you all would be interested. Would you all be interested in viewing aftercare through these 4 chemical reactions that take place and what we can do to boost in aftercare in each category? Yes? Okay. That sounds fun. Now that Shy thinks science is sexy, does sound fun. As a new submissive, how would you bring this up to your dominant? Bring what up to your dominant? One says yes. Okay. What do you want to bring up to your dominant? Can you put some language to that, little lemon? Okay. So yes, there are specific ways that we can reactivate the dopamine level, that we can reactivate the serotonin, etc. And I will go and do an in-depth discussion about that in a full-length video. Do you think as a top, caring for and explaining this to your bottom might help your own drop? If your drop is really bad, yeah. I personally have never experienced a bad drop, ever. I've never experienced a bad drop. It's always just like, but especially as a top, as a dominant, my drop or my crash hasn't ever been bad. I would never quantify a crash that I've had as bad. So, Pelmel, maybe you can explain to me what is so distressing to you when you crash as a top. These feelings of lows or depression after playing. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, little lemon. If you bring it up to your dominant and you say, hey, so you play and it's really good, and because you're so amazing and you're so good at what you do, I crash really, really hard. And maybe you can communicate, here are some things that I would like from you, my dominant, to help me facilitate this crash. I think that's wonderful. And if it upsets your dominant, that's a red flag. If you dropping after a scene upsets your dominant, that's a big red flag. Your dominant should not get upset. That should be like a big fucking compliment. I don't think that that's ever a point that a dominant should get upset about. But I have a top who does when we have played, and I also drop really bad post-play as a bottom. So, Pelmel, is the partner that you're referring to the one that you wrote to me about and Ask Miss Elle? I melted your brain. About what? I don't feel like I've said anything that we haven't already discussed. Oh, brain melty. It is my pleasure. So, did I answer your question, little lemon? Your dominant should not get upset with you for crashing after a scene. That's a really, really big red flag. And there's nothing wrong with crashing or with explaining that. They're not in a dynamic. Okay. Well, see, I would have to talk to the top, Pelmel. There's a lot of things that the dominant is experiencing that I could not possibly answer based off of 4 lines. So I don't know basically what part of the does model is crashing the hardest and why. Aftercare can be a continuation that can bring you both closer, not further. Well, why should aftercare be a disconnecting thing? Why would aftercare, 1, not be viewed as a continuation, and 2, be viewed as a disconnector? Can anyone explain that to me? Because this narrative, like, of aftercare, like, that is 100% The scene is not over until aftercare is complete. When did this narrative pop up? How would you know what part of the does model is crashing? You have to look at motivation, relational closeness and libido, mood, or physical sensations are going to be your 4 primary tells. But Thana, we're going to dig deep into that in the video. You know what? I might do it this weekend. Since you all are so curious, so into the science. But that was something that, I mean, I've from day one that I started learning about this lifestyle and engaging in this lifestyle, aftercare is always an extension of the scene. Always, always, always. If you don't feel connected to your dom or sub in aftercare, that means that one or both of you has checked out emotionally and is no longer like present. Don't want your dominant to think your drop is because of them. Well, it is technically because of them. They led you through a scene that was really juicy and delicious and good, and you went from here to here. So here's the thing, Little Lemon. If you are walking on eggshells, modifying your behavior to avoid your dominant getting upset, that's a red flag. That's a big red flag. I don't want my dominant to think my drop is because of them. What if they do? What if they do think that? What if your dominant does think it was a bad scene? Your dominant can handle their own fucking emotions. We need to let people handle their own emotions. We need to let people self-soothe. It is interest. This explains a feeling I have when I do one aspect, probably closer to dom, the stem dom. It all makes sense now. Wonderful, Toronto. Wonderful. It's sort of a compliment because they make you feel so good. It's like when you were a kid and your birthday party ended or something. That's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. So, and that's actually been, discussed in depth about how do you build drive? How do you build motivation? And really the chemical there is dopamine. Dopamine isn't the happy chemical, that's serotonin. Dopamine is responsible for motivation, for drive, for interest. So if you are looking forward to this big birthday party or a big scene, you have a scene on Friday and it's Monday, your dopamine is climbing all week. All week, your dopamine is climbing. And then you have the scene. There's nothing to look forward to anymore. There's nothing to anticipate. So our dopamine level is going to drop and we're going to feel lethargic, unmotivated. We don't want to do things, right? It's science. And if a dominant is viewing that scientific physiological response as a jab to their ego, you need a different dominant. Because that's not cool. Hey, Natalia. So glad you're here. Brain fog, I know. We've been getting into some science. We're saying something that upsets others, but you're right that I'm not responsible for other people. Little Lemon, dig into your attachment styles. Dig into maybe some core wounds, some trauma triggers, attachment styles, because what you're usually worried about miscommunications or saying something that upsets others, that is a trauma response. That is an anxious attachment style. That is codependency right there. And that is going to cripple you being the best partner that you can be. So I would definitely encourage you, dig into that. I can drop some links and some resources into the personal growth channel here on Discord. I would highly recommend that you look into those because that is telling. That is very, very telling, my friend. I at one point was so just consumed with trauma and so incredibly codependent that I allowed myself to be horrendously abused by a covert narcissist for almost 8 years. I would justify and make excuses, and there was always a reason why it was okay, or why I needed to try harder or work harder, or I needed to understand. I needed to communicate better. All of these things. And it was my codependency. I'm not saying that you're in an abusive situation. I'm not saying you're with a narcissist, anything like that, but I am seeing codependency in your language. And I would highly encourage you, my friend, to dig into that, because it is not your responsibility to soothe constantly your dominance emotions. It's not your responsibility to make your dominant feel dominant. So, saying that because I've been there and I don't want you to go there. All right? I love you. I love you. Mama Bear claws are down. All right? So, let's move on to our next question, unless anyone else has anything that they would like to add to that. Any follow-up thoughts, perspectives? Moving right along. I know. Now you have me wanting to sing the entire song. In good times and good news, with good friends you can't lose. This could become a habit. Everyone, opportunity knocks once, let's reach. Okay, we're not into the Muppet sing-along. That's fine. Just me and Rob, apparently. How do you combat your brain fogs and forgetful episodes? And then Muppets, yes. So how do you combat your brain fog and forgetful episodes? I would look into, honestly, Mr. Growls, I would look into getting yourself on a schedule that demands you to be mindful. When we're stuck at home, when we're working from home, when we don't really have a set schedule, we're not making our mind be disciplined. We're kind of just letting our mind go do whatever we want to do. And that can lead to brain fog or apathy or lack of dopamine, like we were just talking about, where you don't feel motivation, you don't feel drive, you just feel blah, right? And so I think that in order to get things moving in a positive direction, there are even videos that are on YouTube about this from a gaming perspective, how you can establish your daily routine like a video game to keep it fun, to keep you motivated, etc. I think that would be a great option for you, Graham. But I would say if you're actually looking for help, if you're actually looking for a solution, and that was not just a rhetorical question, you've got to get your brain disciplined. So set timers for yourself and set goals for yourself and say, by the end of the day, I'm going to get this, and this done. Or by this time, I'm going to get this, and this done. So I think from a very practical standpoint, that would be a great option for you. And I can link you some resources here on Discord if you would like as well. Okay. So I want to move this guy over here. Oh, I think that's better. I think that's better. I think I won't have to move my head around and my eyes around as much. Okay. Yoga and to-do lists help so much. Yes, I love those to-do lists. Okay. So we did that. Okay. Next question. I have a regular sub that has served me for 3 years now, but since the end of last year, he's been telling me or expressing that he needs sex. He is in his 50s and has a girlfriend around the same age, but they don't have sex, and I've been able to feel it. The thing is, I do not provide any sexual services. This is from a pro-dom. Nowadays, I feel his main trigger is more on the sexual part than domination. He even said something about my outfit, like it would be great if my top was more exposed to see my boobs, etc. I am not a dom who shows my body sexually like in porn. I feel like that's what he wants or what triggers him the most nowadays, being teased sexually. That's why I feel the power of dominating him has decreased than before, because what he wants or his weaknesses don't match with what I do. I have my boundaries and he also knows them and respects them. He's never forced. He has been sharing this with me. I also don't feel that much of a dynamic anymore because his focus is on more sexual things and it makes me feel uncomfortable. Sincerely, I don't know how to deal with it. Should I just tell him to find a girl to fulfill his sexual needs if that is what he needs? Obviously, I don't want to lose him. This is the pain of being a pro-dom, and I guess you know what I mean. No, not on the last part, not wanting to lose him. I don't know what you mean because it's a fucking client. He is pushing his luck, Sterling. So here's the thing. Pro-dom, who wrote this. You say he knows your boundaries and respects them? No, he doesn't. He knows your boundaries, but he does not respect them. Unfortunately, ladies, you like to conflate disrespect and force. They're not the same. Force is one way you can disrespect someone. It's not every way you can disrespect someone. So that's the first thing here. Pro-dom. He does not respect your boundaries. The comments that he's made and the little just sharing bullshit is just that. It's bullshit. It's manipulation. And what he's trying to do is emotionally manipulate you around your boundaries. Okay? So, at this point, you do not engage. You do not indulge. And if he tries that shit again, you go, bye-bye. And you do not engage. You must set a boundary, pro-dom, because that's a very concerning thing that you said at the end of this. Obviously, I don't want to lose him. Well, I understand that you might be invested in a dominant way to a submissive, and I get that that could be a little, I don't want to lose that. But this is a client. This is a client who's paying you for a service. Why is there this level of emotion here that I don't want to lose him? That's something you say about a boyfriend or like a part, like what? This is a submissive client. You don't want to lose him because of the emotional connection. You don't want to lose him because of the money. That's the thing. If that's your narrative, pro-dom, that you are willing to let him push your boundaries because you don't want to lose him, he owns this whole situation. He has the power, not you. That's the reality. If you need a submissive client more than he chooses you, he owns you. You don't own him. And that's what I'm seeing here. So set your boundaries. And if he brings it up again, you were saying you're feeling uncomfortable. You're feeling uncomfortable, but you're willing to feel uncomfortable and keep him on as a client. That's codependency. That's financial coercion. That's desperation. Okay? Consent is a completely mindful, willing, and uncoerced choice to say yes and the ability to revoke that yes at any time without fear of repercussions. If the only reason you are doing it is for money, then the person giving you money owns you. It doesn't matter if you label yourself a top, a dom, dominant, it matters not. Financial coercion is the oldest form of consent violation. Okay? That's why I can't jive with CNC is not to be taken lightly. We're not talking about CNC, but correct. It is not meant to be taken lightly. So, got fired up on that one. Anyway. Financial coercion is the oldest form of consent violation. Oldest form. Okay? So I have a very specific stance on issues like sex work and things like that because I love people. And if you can't afford to pay your bills, I don't want you to have to do things you don't want to do just to pay your bills just because it's good money. That's the importance of there not being a coercive element in consent. One must be willing and able to enforce boundaries, otherwise they're not actually boundaries, 100%. They're just suggestions at that point. And quite honestly, suggestions that if you don't reinforce, then you're communicating to the other people around you that you don't have to take me at my word. You don't have to take me seriously. I may say this, but I don't really mean it. You can walk all over me. I won't say anything. Yeah. If you do not reinforce your boundaries, you are just advertising your weakness. Just advertising your weakness. So, let's see. Did we answer that one thoroughly? Does anyone have anything else they would like to add here? Do 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 do. Okay. So how would you bring consent? This is the next question. How would you bring consent into a scene where hypnosis is involved? Ooh. Okay. So let's talk about. Ooh, this is fun. Let's talk about hypnosis and consent and if they can actually be done, if hypnosis can be done in a consensual and healthy way. Dana, I'm gonna let you say something before I jump into this. I think I scared Thana off. Thana's like, no. Okay. So you're just getting excited. Okay. So here's the thing. Hypnosis is activating a part of the brain that's not entirely conscious. That can do a lot of harm. That can do a lot of damage. Okay? That's why risk-aware consensual kink is a thing, all right? Risks are involved. With hypnosis, to me, it's a pretty fucking big risk. I would never, ever, ever, ever feel safe enough with anyone to subject, to give over that much of my subconscious decision-making, thought processes, all of that. Like, I do not want anyone in that territory. No one gets in that territory. That's my personal boundary. That's my hard limit because it's very, very deep and it can do a lot of damage. But for those of you who are willing to accept the risks, I do think it can be done in a consensual way. And here's how. If we break down my definition of consent, which I'm not being biased, it's the best definition of consent I have ever heard. Consent is a completely mindful, willing, and uncoerced choice to say yes and the ability to revoke that yes at any time without fear of repercussions. If we're looking at that definition of consent, we have basically 5 standards. We have mindful, willing, uncoerced, ability to revoke the yes, and no fear of repercussions. Those 5 aspects of consent must be in play for it to be authentic consent. So, can you go into a hypnosis situation mindfully, willingly, without being coerced, with the ability to revoke your yes, and without fear of repercussions? Yes, I do believe you can. And here is how I would go about it. For the tops wanting to lead any bottoms through something like this, I think that you need to go through like a little 5-point checklist, so to speak, with this definition of consent. So the first one being mindful. Does the bottom know exactly the cues, the commands, the triggers, etc., that will be used on them? Right? Because when we put someone into a hypnotic state, there are certain cue words or trigger words that get them to do something, behave in a certain way, things like that, right? So if you are going into a hypnotic state or leading someone through a hypnotic state, just like the aftercare thing and the crash thing that we were just talking about, if you give that person the data that they need to know to feel safe and feel like I am completely mindful. I know what to expect going into this. I know that these are going to be the programmed words. Or recording on the ideally with video, but there's still that level of doubt. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you can, yeah, that would be a great fail safe, is have it recorded so that you can actually witness what happened. I think that's very, very wise, Graham. Absolutely. But I think just in the debrief portion, not the debrief, in the negotiation, in the discussion, you need to be talking about this. You need to be telling the bottom partner, the bottom player, here's what I'm intending to do with this scene, with this activity. Does that make sense to everyone so far? Mindfulness. That was weird. Okay. So next one, willing. Is the bottom interested, curious, excited about this? I think this one differs from most of our other scenes in BDSM in the sense that you can have a willing submissive who isn't necessarily excited for whatever scene you're about to take them through, but it's still willingness. You can have a submissive willing to yield to a punishment scene, even though they don't actually want the punishment scene. With this, I think it's a little different. I think willingness must include curiosity and excitement and interest on the bottom player's part, because you will never be able to fully release and give someone access into that space unless you want someone to have access to that space. So that would be my second point here, is the bottom player must be, and I go on to say uncoerced. For uncoerced, does the bottom desire this independently? Like, this isn't something that the top player is like, oh, I've been reading all this stuff and I want to try it and I want to try it on you. That might happen. I'm saying ideally, this should be something that independently is a desire on the bottom side, just for it to go as smoothly as possible. So, mindful, willing, uncoerced, does the bottom desire this independently? Revoke their yes. So, I would say give them an out before any sort of programming. So I've seen in hypnotic sessions before how you program your trigger words and things like that for whoever you're hypnotizing to do certain things, respond certain ways, whatever. But I think the first thing is you need to give them an out. You need to give them some sort of backup, like a fail safe kind of thing. Like when you're dealing with the subconscious, I feel you need a fail safe, just like what Mr. Growls was saying. What are acceptable outs if speech is restricted? Then you get to like a safe gesture, little clicker, something like that. But that's up to the top and bottom player to negotiate and decide. The bottom player might not feel safe going through a hypnotic session if their speech is restricted, things like that. Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Justin, I feel like that's kind of a given. But yes, let's go ahead and say that. You, dominance, you don't want to go into any activity blindly. You don't want to go into any activity thinking that you know exactly what you're doing and you don't. Make sure you get the proper education that you need before you play. Yes, Justin. Safety first. Safety first. So, and then let's see. Revoke the yes. Give them an out. We're already talking about this. Also, yes, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's essentially what I'm saying, everyone, is you want that person who's going under to feel like they still have some sort of power, some sort of autonomy. Yes, give them a fail safe, give them a way out. Absolutely. And then finally, and I feel like this is what you all are touching on right now, as far as the no fear of repercussions, you as the bottom who's going into this, you must fully trust your top's integrity, motivations, the method, and ability to stay safe and autonomous. And I think really the key there is the top's integrity. The top's integrity. If you can trust that this person is going to access parts of my mind and my psyche, my subconscious, I need to be able to trust that they're doing so for a good reason. They're not doing so to control or manipulate or violate. I think a lot of trust has to be established between the bottom and the top in terms of integrity. That the top is doing this for good, happy, fun, pleasurable reasons, not destructive, harmful, controlling reasons. That to me is like, before anything else happens, that has to be the foundation that we're dealing with, because everything else will just be second guessing if we don't. So mindful, willing, uncoerced, revoke, yes, no fear. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts? Because our question was, can hypnosis be done consensually? And that was my answer to the question. That yes, I do believe that it can. Anyone else have any final thoughts, comments, anything to that question? Only if both parties fully understand the process. Yep. That's what I've been saying. You've got to communicate. You've got to communicate thoroughly. You don't want anything to come as a surprise. And that's another difference between any other type of scene that you do. Like you're taking some different territory here. So you have to approach it in a different way. Yep. Informed of any potential traumas. I love that you all are like, we're going off of the answer of consent to we really want to protect this theoretical bottom player right now, and it is so cute. It's really, really adorable. Look at how wonderful these human beings are. Like, YouTube, if you are looking for a safe community of people that will just surround you with love and support and protection, like these are the people that you want to get connected with. I have the best community ever. Come join us. Come join us. So much love, so much care, so much empathy, so much wisdom, so many different experiences, so many different backgrounds and interests. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We have a beautiful, inclusive, safe, kink-friendly community. Come hang out with us. Patreon.com/LXerotica. Just setting a safe setting to move out of and back to. Yep. Perhaps if both parties took classes on hypnosis together, so they both learn together and understand it in all the same way. Beautiful suggestion, Mr. Grouse. Initiated by one party, is driven by both. I would say that, like we were talking about earlier, it's really good if the bottom player has an independent interest in this as well. Led by beautiful goddess, we only choose violence 3 out of 7 days of the week, so don't be shy. Oh, that's just one of my admins. It's fine. Okay, next question. We're at an hour and I've done, damn it, 5 questions. Damn it. Okay. So, well, I think technically 6. Our rapid fire isn't so rapid, but it's fire, so I'll take it. All right. Okay, what did I write for this one? Okay, yes. Now, is she here? Is Tater Tots here right now? I don't think Tater Tots is here, but I'm going to go ahead and answer her question. She's been waiting a couple weeks for this. So here we go. Tater Tots asks, I am working on drawing boundaries with my time and emotions. I am struggling to help a friend develop the skills to independently self-soothe when presented with stressful situations. When they are really stressed out, they begin calling and texting me for solutions, but they're not implementing the solutions I suggest, or they do for a short period of time but fall off and resort back to their most preferred form of self-soothing, which is talking or texting me. That's not self-soothing. Self-soothing is not calling and texting someone. You're looking to them for soothing. Anyway, let's see. It seems like as I'm typing this out that they're potentially manipulating me into talking with them through their victimization, but I'm not sure. I've scheduled weekly check-ins with them that only occur if they've implanted previous suggestions, helped with their schedule, etc., but it seems like the replacement behaviors I'm suggesting are not maintaining, and it falls back on me, and I just don't have time or the emotional bandwidth. I don't want to abandon them, but they're placing expectations on me that I really didn't sign up for. I feel like I may need to slowly fade, but I do enjoy this person when they're not using our friendship container as a therapy container. How do you self-monitor when you are a therapist to ensure this doesn't happen? Oh my goodness. Okay. Lots to unpack here. All right. They're soothing. I know. That's cute. So here we go. My answer to this one is gonna start with that one line that I really don't like so much, and that is, quote, I don't want to abandon them. I don't want to abandon them. And here's the thing. When you are very empathic and you want to help people and you're compassionate and you want to love people, setting boundaries can feel like abandonment, especially if someone is victimizing you and projecting that narrative onto you. It can feel like you're abandoning them, but you're not. You are allowed to be a healthy person who has peace. You are allowed to be grounded and at peace. You are not meant to be constantly drained and overwhelmed and stressed and anxious and exhausted. Because think about it. If that was really a true friend, that friend doesn't want you to feel that way anyway. So the fact that you are saying that this friend is a friend, you're quantifying them as a friend, but at the same time, they have no regard for your emotional autonomy. They're just dumping on you. And you're not setting any boundaries. And you're not setting any boundaries because you don't want to abandon them. But in reality, the lack of boundaries is self-betrayal. And you are now in a very enmeshed relationship with this person. So, to the first point about, you give them advice, they don't follow through with your advice, they go and do what they want to do anyway, then they come back to you wanting advice. Stop giving them advice. Just shut up. Just shut up, Tater Tots. I love you, and I'm sure your advice is beautiful and wonderful and amazing and life-changing. But if you keep trying to give someone advice when they are not willing and ready to implement it, you're going to create a very toxic dynamic. And that's what's going on right now. So do not give them any more advice. They clearly do not want your advice. What they want is to bitch or whine or cry or get the little empathy boost that they need and keep doing what they're doing and keep victimizing themselves. That's what they actually want. They want someone to go, oh no, everything's okay. You don't have to change. It's everything else. You're doing everything great. That's what they really want. I've had so much experience with people like this. So just stop. Just stop giving them advice. They might be telling you that they want help. They might be telling you they want strategies. They might be telling you that they think that you're really wise and really brilliant, really intelligent, and then you could really help them. No. It's all bullshit. Tater tots, okay? Stop giving advice. That's number one. Number two, you said you have weekly check-ins with this friend, but only if they do what you've set out for them to do. Now, you've said this is a friend. You did not say this is a therapy client. You didn't say this is a submissive that you're training. You should not be this invested in what they are or are not doing between your check-ins. And furthermore, if this is an actual friendship, why are you making it a therapy relationship? Don't be their therapist. If they need help, they can go get a therapist. But if you actually want to be their friend, be their friend. If you want to be their therapist, be their therapist. But right now, it's like you're trying to play both. And it's getting you confused and enmeshed. And there's a lot of self-betrayal going on, Tater Tots. And I don't want to see that for you, girl. Hey, Sega. How are you, baby? So that's the thing. You got to pick a lane here, Tater Tots. I love you, but if you want to be their friend, not their therapist. Knock it off with these weekly check-ins. It is not your responsibility to hold them accountable. That's what you're saying. This wasn't this enmeshed therapy relationship. I wasn't their accountability partner. I just thought I was their friend. And now all of this is happening and I feel drained and I feel very overwhelmed and I'm exhausted and this is not healthy. And if you want to be their friend, then be their friend. Set the boundaries that make you their friend again. If they call you crying, oh, I need your help on this. I'm feeling so overwhelmed. Then I'm sorry you're feeling so overwhelmed, but I'm not willing to help you with this. Well, why? What? I thought we were friends. We are friends. And that's why I'm not willing to be your therapist here. If you want to come over and put on a great movie and have a couple drinks and chill out, we can do that because we're friends. But I'm not your therapist. And I have given you advice and you haven't listened. And I now feel manipulated, violated, and tired. And I'm not willing to do this anymore. And you have absolutely every right to say that. And honestly, Tater Tots, if this is a true friend that genuinely loves you, that genuinely cares about you, they're going to respect that. They're going to be like, oh, I did not mean to make you feel like you had to take this on. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to make you feel like my therapist. I want to be your friend. I'm so sorry for emotionally dumping on you, for being, like that is a good, healthy friend. And that's how they would react. But if you set that boundary with this friend and they're like, well, fuck you. I thought you were my friend and I thought you cared. Clearly not your friend. So set boundaries with people. Set boundaries with people. What did I say a few weeks ago? Boundaries are the extent in which I can love you and me simultaneously. All right? All right, very empathic. Okay. Yes. Taylor, yes. In the process of trying to avoid abandoning someone, you might end up abandoning yourself. Yep. That's why I was just talking about that. Self-betrayal. Self-betrayal, self-abandonment. Very much the same thing, little lemon. When you end up dropping what you're doing or don't feel like you can live without being on call to someone else, you end up abandoning yourself for someone else. It's codependency. Absolutely. What was the question? The question was a very long paragraph that you can go back and watch here in a few minutes on YouTube. But basically about how if you are just basically friends with someone and that friend starts pushing for more of your therapy skills, basically, they're looking to you for advice and soothing, and it's becoming a very toxic and meshed dynamic. How do you shut it down? Can you still be this person's friend? What needs to happen? All of that. So that was basically the question. Sega, you're already exhausted, right? Right? Okay. So let's see. 707. I think we can do a couple more. I think we've got a couple more questions in us. Let's see. Okay. This came in from the community. You got this. You got this. How you doing, Sega? I'm glad that you're here with us today. So here we go. I think I enjoy degradation and humiliation play or scenes. However, my mind doesn't seem to agree with my body on the level of enjoyment. My brain is going, he shouldn't talk to you like that. This is not good. He is so mean. Why are you letting him do these things to you? Whereas my body enjoys it very much. I get extremely aroused and excited. I'm never upset after it's all said and done. All in all, it's always an experience I enjoy, but emotionally, I shut down a bit because my brain keeps telling me it's too degrading. Any thoughts on this? Is it normal in this kind of play, or do people usually enjoy it on an emotional level as well? Okay, so may I name drop the person who asked this question, or would you like to remain anonymous? And you can DM me or tell it to one of the admins or something if you don't want to type it here publicly. But I would... why does my chat keep doing this? Was that a yes public share or yes be anonymous? Public is fine. Okay. All right, Raven. I have to talk to you. First of all, Raven, I just love you so much. Thank you for being so vulnerable again. Don't we love Raven's amazing questions? They're so good. They're so good. So, Raven, here's the thing, my dear. Are you ready? Are you ready for a little bit of tough love? Little bit of mama bear tough love? Cause I love you so much. Are you ready? I'll be gentle. I'll be gentle and I'll give you lots of hugs and snugs, but are you ready for a little tough love? Such a good question, right? Such a good question. And definitely not the only one who has these questions and these experiences and these thoughts and these feelings. So, I think the first thing here that really makes me sad is the last couple of lines. And I want to start there as kind of my thesis and workaround. These last two lines are really, really telling in terms of mentality. Quote, is it normal? And, quote, do people usually enjoy it? These two comments tell me something very clearly. Raven, you are using comparison as your reference point for health or dysfunction. Okay? And that is not right. That is not healthy. Your relationship is unique and organic to you. Your experiences are unique and organic to you. Your responses and reactions and emotions are unique and organic to you. So let's just start there. This compare and despair is a theme for you, girl. This is a theme for you, girl. And it's very deep rooted. It's coming out in ways that you don't even identify, but I see it as clear as day. Where you're almost trying to validate yourself based off of, well, if other people struggle with this, then it's okay. Or if this is normal for other people, then it's normal. If it's not normal for other people, then I'm really fucked up. And there's almost this like subconscious shame narrative based off of this compare and despair. Am I totally wrong? Am I totally misunderstanding? Because that's the first thing I see. And that's a deep one. And that's a big one because it has to do with what's coming up for you in your sexuality and in your scenes, in your play, in your kink. And it's all tied together. So those two are the first thing. Is it normal? Do people usually enjoy? We have to stop the compare and despair. Is it normal? Do people usually enjoy? You know what? Fuck those questions. It's about you and your partner. This is a buffet. BDSM is not a closet to come out of. It is a buffet to choose from. What does that mean? It means that you don't have to fit into a box or a label to enjoy humiliation or degradation or to be authentically kinky or to be an authentic part of the BDSM lifestyle. It's not coming out of the closet and I have to look and talk and be a certain way. It's a buffet. You and your partner have your own plates and you're going down your buffet and you're going, ooh, that looks good. I'm going to put a little bit of that on my plate. Or, ooh, I've never tried that before. It looks a little intense, but also kind of tasty. I'm going to put that on my plate. If you start looking down the line, what do they have on their plate? Oh, that looks better. What they have on their plate, that looks better. Or, oh, they have that on their plate. So, honey, we should probably put this on our plate too because we don't want to look weird. We don't want to look like we don't know what we're doing. And the next three people after us, babe, did you see what they have on their plate? Babe, go put some on our plate real fast. That's what we do. That's essentially compare and despair. And that's compare and despair in a kink context. So I have to throw that one out because that one is so important. So important. Second one here. Your brain is going, he shouldn't talk to you like that. This is not good. He's so mean. Why are you letting him do this? Okay. Well, Raven, your brain is talking to you, but it might not be you. See, we have a mind and a brain and a body. And our mind talks to our brain talks to our body. Your mind is what's telling you these things. And if it's not coming from you, your consciousness, because your body is responding in a very positive way, then there is a subconscious narrative that is causing that to come up for you, Raven. And it's not you. So that would be what I would encourage you to dig into, Raven. Where have you heard things like that before? This very judgmental, policing kind of language. You should, you shouldn't, he shouldn't, they should, they shouldn't. A lot of times when we grow up in really, really toxic, controlling, religious environments, our caregivers can model moral policing to us and judgment. And that can become our voice internally. So if it's not coming from you, Raven, because it's not, you were saying, my body enjoys it. I get extremely aroused and excited. But my brain is going, he shouldn't talk to you like that. This is not good. He is so mean. So at what point was it a really, really bad, scary, wrong, shameful thing for men or a man to be dominant, assertive? Is that the narrative going on? Where if you let a man dominate you, then you're not a strong woman. You're not really a feminist. Is it something like that? Is it shame from a parent, a mom? No, you can't let men talk to you like that. Stand up for yourself kind of thing. Like there is somewhere that this narrative came from and it's not coming from you. It's not coming from your conscious mind because your conscious mind is talking to your body or talking to your brain, and your brain is affecting your body in a very pleasant way. The disconnect is what's being spoken to your brain through your mind at a subconscious level. And this is confirmed by the fact that you said you emotionally shut down a bit because your brain keeps telling you it's too degrading. It's just a constant, rah, 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 which again reinforces this is a subconscious program that something or someone has modeled to you that is attaching itself to vanilla conditioning in this way. That good and healthy sex shouldn't be feisty. There shouldn't be dirty talk. There shouldn't be elements of humiliation or degradation. That is wrong, and that is bad, and that is shameful. And you as a woman should be stronger than it. And you as a woman should not subject yourself to that. That is the dichotomy that I'm hearing and seeing in your language here. So I would dig into that, Raven. Where is this coming from? Because it's clearly not coming from you. That's point number one. Point number two, and really, if you want to really help yourself, then just say, says who? Says who? In the moment when those things are coming up, he shouldn't talk to you like that. Says who? This is not good. Says who? He is so mean. Says who? Why are you letting him do these things to you? Who's saying that? Who's saying that? Someone outside of you is condemning you for allowing a man to treat you like this. So this narrative did not come from you. It's coming out of you, but it's not coming from you. So that's the first thing. Let's think about that. Let's really dig into that one. Number two here. And this one is really, 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 really concerning for me, Raven. And I'm going to kindly ask that you don't do this again. When you shut down emotionally and disassociate, that's not when you plow through a scene. That is not when you plow through a scene. If you get so triggered by these thoughts that you cannot control them, they overwhelm you and they shut down your emotions to the degree that you disassociate. That's not what we want. You've got to full stop, girl. You've got to full stop. If you're in a scene and your dominant starts down the degrading track and it triggers you emotionally where your emotions shut down and you're no longer like, ooh, baby, yes, talk to me like that. Tell me what a dirty girl I am. If you're not still like that, stop. Full fucking stop. You don't plow through it. You don't try to push through it. You don't try to be stronger. You full stop. Because what's happening is you are getting triggered. And when we keep that trigger on a subconscious level and we do not bring it to the conscious level, it grows stronger. Anytime we bring something to the subconscious, to the conscious level, it weakens it. When we bring it up and we look at it and we question it and we challenge it. But when we keep it down and just go, la, 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 it doesn't exist, it actually gets stronger. So the more you do this, the more you're just like, well, I don't want to ruin a scene, so I'm just going to plow through it. Or I'm just going to fake it. Or I'm just going to get him off really fast so we can be done with it really fast. No performance, no lying, no performative receiving, no faking your orgasms, and no plowing through emotional distress, ladies. I'm tired of it. I'm fucking sick of it, ladies. Oh, Mama Bear got triggered now. Ladies. I've been talking to some ladies lately who they were walking me through their sexual experience with themselves. With themselves, not even with a partner. And what these ladies have explained to me, who have been explaining that they have a lot of anxiety and performance issues and they can't get off and all of this. And I'm asking them, walk me through how you do it. They're like, well, I just feel like I need to do it. So I just get whatever, and I go in, and I just start, and I just try to get off. Ladies, no wonder we have such a massive orgasm gap. If you all are doing that with your own self, when there's no pressure and no expectations, oh my goodness, I cannot imagine what is going on behind closed doors with your partners. Ladies, do you know that desire is the first phase of sexual responsiveness? It's not arousal, it's desire. Desire, then arousal, then orgasm, then refractory period or recovery, whatever. It's called a few different terms, but that's the flow. It starts with desire. If you don't have desire, the whole rest of the flow is not going to happen. But ladies, you are just like, I need to have an orgasm or else my partner is going to feel like he's not a good lover. Well, you know what? Maybe your partner isn't a good lover. Maybe he needs to learn a few things. Maybe you need to stop giving him leading him down a breadcrumb trail of exactly what will not get you off. So enough with the performative receiving, enough with plowing through in a scene or sex that we're no longer present in. We're triggered, we're emotionally detached, we're disassociated, but we're plowing through because we don't want to ruin it. And we don't want his experience to be ruined. Well, you know what? Your experience is getting ruined. Okay, it's part of life, part of being a human. But you can't do it anymore, ladies. Don't ever fake an orgasm again. Don't ever moan or move or gyrate in a way that you don't feel. Don't ever try to replicate a performance that you've seen in porn to try to keep up, anything like that. I want you to be like, before you take your clothes off, before you go in the bedroom, before you go in the playroom. That is what I want for you. Because great, beautiful orgasms and great connections, it starts with desire. So if you're going into your sexual experience without desire, no. If you lose desire during sex, no, stop. Build desire again. But you ladies aren't willing to do that. It's like, oh, he's going to reject me. He's going to get bored. He's going to, feel insecure, whatever. Well, you know what? Maybe he needs to deal with his own shit. But not at the cost of your pleasure, ladies. Pleasure is just as much for you as it is for him. And I'm tired of you ladies going into these circumstances, faking it, plowing through disassociation and not really even being aroused or don't feel any desire. And it's just a game, and it's lying, and it's manipulating, and it's you trying to make sure he doesn't go anywhere or cheat on you or look at porn. If all of these are factors that move you into the bedroom or move you into the playroom, you're moving into the bedroom or the playroom for the wrong reasons. The only thing that should ever move you into the bedroom or the playroom is not obligation, it's not fear, it's not anxiety, it's not trying to keep up or compare, it's desire. Okay. Didn't know that one was coming out. Y'all enjoy the bonus rant this evening? So, all of that to say, Raven's question broke my heart. And I'm really tired of you ladies doing this to yourselves, where you're so just crippled with body image issues and insecurity and performative receiving and compare and despair that you make sex non-sexy. You're all up in here and not all in here. So that's the thing. If you enjoy something and if something makes you feel good and you're like, ooh, I'm really into this, but then your partner says or does something that triggers you and you start going from in your body to in your head, you're like, okay, I want to get back to that place. I want to get back to that place, but I'm not. Oh my gosh, I'm not in my body. Okay. Well, I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to ruin it. Okay, just keep going. Just keep going. It's fine. Just calm down. Relax. It's okay. Okay. We'll just moan like this or move your head like this. It's fine. It's fine. That is not good. Don't do that. Don't do that anymore. If you get triggered, stop. Tell your partner, be vulnerable. Like, babe, I love you so much and you were so sexy and beautiful and wonderful, but I just got triggered for some reason. I'm not sure why. Can we pause for a moment? And maybe just like get regrounded, or like maybe can we just slow down a little bit? Or can I just share this thought with you? Maybe you can help me process it. Anything like that. But it's so rare to hear from the ladies that I work with that you'll actually do that. And that's what I would like you to do. Sex issues are not sex issues. 95% of the time, sex issues are not sex issues. That's just how they're manifesting, and where they're manifesting is in sex. And we have to get to the root of why these thoughts are coming up. Why are these thoughts being triggered in that moment? And why are those the specific thoughts that are being triggered? That's where the real change and healing will happen. So I hope that helped, Raven. I love you so much. I'm so sorry that you're struggling with this. My heart hurts for you. My heart hurts for you. And all of you ladies who have been in situations like this, you men who have been in situations where you've felt deceived, or like your partner was gaslighting you sexually because of their performative receiving. Men, my heart hurts for you too. I know so many men who are just like, just tell me. Clients that I have, or husbands or partners of clients that I have, are just like, just tell me. Just talk to me, you know? I'm seeing it. I'm saying it. My chat just got froze, so I'm just scrolling back through. Oh my gosh, Mr. Growls. Faked it for 11 years. My gosh. Ugh. Yes, little lemon. Good, good, good. So good, so good, so good. All right, everyone. I'm glad that we're all on the same page. I know. I see you. I see you. It just froze, and I'm just trying to go through it. But yeah, you're good. You're good, Raven. I don't think I missed anything. Clearly, you've never enjoyed sex, and if it's not supposed to feel like a chore. Oh, oh my gosh. No, Natalia. No. Oh, baby. No, no, no. It's never supposed to feel like a chore. No. Sex should never feel like a chore. If sex feels like a chore to you, ladies and gentlemen, then I would really encourage you to dig into, why does it feel like a chore? Don't apologize. My heart is sad. My heart is sad. Because I want you to have all of the amazing orgasms that you want. And not only that, to just feel very, very seen and grounded with your partner and feel very connected, and just should never feel like a chore. Should never feel like a chore. Sex should always start with desire. Natalia, can we have an agreement? You will never have sex again if you feel like it's a chore. You feel like it's a chore, you're not going to have sex. The only time I want you to have sex is if you feel like, that's what I want. That's tough. That's her reply. Okay. Ladies, what the hell? I'm glad, Raven. I'm glad that it helped. I'm so glad. I hope you didn't feel like I was coming down on you. I hope you still feel loved and connected. But Natalia, Little Lemon, ladies, oh my gosh. No, 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 no. Please never, ever, 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 ever. If sex feels like a chore, don't do it. Because you know what? Okay. Ladies, I have to go here because I need you to understand what you're doing. I need you to understand the level of self-betrayal and self-neglect and self-abandonment that's taking place. You're probably not going to like hearing what I'm going to say, but I'm saying it in the most gentle and loving way possible because I genuinely, genuinely love you, Natalia, Little Lemon, and all of you ladies out there watching who have the same experiences. If sex feels like a chore to you and you still do it, why are you doing it? And that's a rhetorical question. That's a rhetorical question because all I need to know is the fact that it feels like a chore and you're still doing it. Control? Maybe. It's a way to make sure that our partner doesn't go anywhere. But if that's really the case, then it's more fear than control. Right? We control because we're afraid. We often control because we're afraid of loss. We're afraid of abandonment. So we try to control. But really, it's a fear. So here's the thing. If it's a chore, you don't want to do it, and yet you do, that's coerced consent. That's consent that's taking place for probably maybe fear of repercussions. There's only two types of sex: consensual and non-consensual. Ladies, you are willingly putting yourself through a non-consensual sexual encounter. A completely mindful, willing, uncoerced choice to say yes, the ability to revoke that yes at any time without fear. If you're only having sex with your partner, it feels like a chore, you don't really want to, but if you don't, they might cheat on you. That's fear of repercussions. That's not authentic consent. You're violating yourself. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. You're allowing yourself to be sexually violated because you're scared. Yeah, that's not healthy. That's not sex. That's a game that uses sex to feel safe. That's not what sex is, ladies. You have physical issues, sort of, so you never really enjoyed it. Okay. So it's time to bring your partner into those physical issues rather than trying to hide them or deny them or work around them. It's time to be vulnerable about them. And it's time to tell your partner, here's what works for me and here's what doesn't. It requires vulnerability. But that's part of sex. That's part of healthy sex. How can you think of sex as not requiring vulnerability? I mean, is everyone just great with everyone being naked? Genitalia isn't intimate, personal, private. Nudity isn't personal, private, sacred. It's like you get physically naked with someone, but there's no vulnerability. I think we're misdefining vulnerability a little bit. Sex requires vulnerability. It's that powerful, and it's that beautiful, and it requires vulnerability. And you will never, ladies, you will never get the pleasure you want by expecting your partner to read your mind. You won't. And if you're afraid, oh, he's going to get insecure about himself, well, you don't make him feel like shit. You just communicate in a very calm and gentle way. And you let him know, here's how my body responds to this. Here's what pleases me. Here's what works for me. Things like that. Yep. Little Lemon, good job though. Good job. I'm glad that you're seeing it. I'm glad that you're seeing it. Not a mind reader and will never be a mind reader. Absolutely. No one is. No one is. You can be insightful and wise and intuitive all you want, but you still cannot go into someone's thoughts and read them like you're reading a novel. No. You need to communicate your desires, your needs, and if you do not communicate them clearly and effectively, ladies, your partner is not going to know what pleases you. I am almost a mind reader, but that's why I phrased it how I did. I still can't go into your mind and read it like a novel. I'm good. I'm not that good. But that's what I'm saying. You can be very intuitive, very insightful, very wise, very empathic, and you can kind of read the energy or patterns, tendencies in your partner. But unless you tell your partner, so this is how my body responds to this, but this is how my brain responds to this. And if you do this and then this or this and this and this, like you just have to give your partner the pieces of the puzzle. You're not telling your partner, put the puzzle together right now in this order, in this way. You're just going, hey, here's some things that'll give you a clearer picture to me. And that's all it is. That's all communication is, especially about sex, but it needs to happen. Needs to happen. All right, so let me just wrap up with question number 8 here. So this one is about the DOM crashes. These crashes are extremely low and take me a lot of time. I know we touched on this earlier a little bit, but I had a second point that I wanted to share on this question real fast. In extreme cases, it can take me days to recover properly. When I'm in these states for too long, my sub gets very anxious and loses confidence. Do you have any advice on how to recover my flow faster or ways to communicate to my sub that everything is fine? I just need a little more time to get back to equilibrium. Okay. How punishment fits into this, like not the sex part as much as intimacy, vulnerability, making sure you stay in the mindset rather than detaching. I don't feel like punishment should be a part of that, Thana. I don't feel like it should be. Completely being able and willing to open up as well as completely entirely open. Can lead to disappointment. I disagree, Admiral Riker. I'm so sorry that's been your negative experience, but I would appreciate if you not project that experience onto everyone else here. I disagree with that. I disagree with being completely willing and open with your partner will and can lead to disappointment. I wholeheartedly disagree with that, and I'm calling that as a projection. I do not accept that. Yes, and another concern is when you've been masking your authentic responses with fake ones, so they've learned the language of the fake responses. Yes, exactly, Lena. Very good. Very good. Dom crashes are real. Yes, indeed they are. I did. What I said, Little Lemon, and you may have not caught it, I said, we did talk about this briefly at the beginning, but there was a second point toward the end that I wanted to cover that I did not before. So if you'll just be a little patient, hang in there with me. I'll give you new information that you did not hear before. So how do I communicate with my sub that I just need time to get back to equilibrium, all this? So here's the thing. I would start with these questions to ask your submissive. What makes her feel so attached to you when you're a dominant? And what does she get anxious about when it's lacking? Those I would encourage you both to have a discussion around. Those specific questions. One, what makes her feel so attached to you when you're operating in that intense, high protocol dominant space? And what does she get anxious about when that intense, high protocol dominant space is lacking? Start your conversations around those 2 points. Okay. Admiral Riker, love and appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying that. See, everyone? Humility. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Love and appreciate that so much right there. Okay. So, I would also, number one, start with that. And number two, how do I communicate to your sub that everything is fine? I just need a little bit more time to get back to your, like that. You have to be vulnerable too. And if your crash is like that and you need time, love and appreciate you, my friend. So if you just need time to get grounded again, communicate that. Call her onto your lap, sit her down, push her hair behind her ear a little bit. Just grab her face, be like, oh, sweetheart, that was so wonderful. And I had such a great time connecting with you. I'm glad that you're doing well and that you're coming down. It takes me a little bit of time, maybe sometimes more time than you, to come down from my crash. And I know that you want to be respectful of that process. So that's what I'm just communicating to you right now, that today or tomorrow, over the next couple of days, you might see me act a little differently. You might see me be more in my head or more quiet. Nothing's wrong. I love you. Everything's fine. I just have a lot that I need to process and come down from our scene. Do you feel okay with that? And do you feel like you can give me that space today and tomorrow? How about something like that, my friend? How would a conversation like that happen? Or if you were just very, very vulnerable with your needs, your emotional state, do you think that would be something that could help? Do you think that would be a soothing conversation? So that would be my suggestion there. Additionally, you said, where is it? I understand that rituals are very important, but I don't want to be dependent on my sub's ritual actions to recover. You shouldn't be. And I'm a little confused by that. We might need to dig into that, but the rituals should take place just for consistency and behavioral training. I don't know why I keep doing that. These rituals, they're important, but I don't understand why you're putting those two thoughts together. Rituals are important, but I don't want to be dependent on my sub's rituals in order to recover. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. Your recovery process is up to you. Those rituals should be in place not to help you recover, but those rituals should be in place. I mean, you can set specific rituals. Like, let's say you need time. You need time after, like, let's say you bring her down from the scene. She's doing good. She took a nap, had a snack. She's coming down, feeling peaceful, feeling grounded, feeling rested. And maybe you just need the next hour of silence, of quiet, of no conversation. Then maybe you can set a ritual around that where she has to wear a gag for an hour. You know, you bring it to her and be like, okay, this is my processing time now. We helped you process. Now we're going to help me process. So you can set up a ritual like that. That could facilitate you coming down. But the rituals that you have set up in your dynamic, whether scene to scene or a 24/7 basis, they should not exist. Thank you, John. They should not exist solely to move you in or out of an emotional state. You're the dominant. You choose how and when that energy flows. And if you're tired, you're overwhelmed, you're still crashing, then handle that like a dominant. If she starts getting fussy or whiny or bratty, handle it like a dominant. Excuse me, woman. I helped you crash. I took care of you. We went through our aftercare. Okay. Now you can be my patient little submissive for a day or two while I process what I need to process. Can you not? I thought you were my good little submissive. Are you? Are you going to be a good girl and be patient and stable and let Sir come down from the scene? Are you going to be a good girl? But if you don't engage and it's just like scene and it was beautiful and you connected and then you crash and you don't explain why or what's going on, you just crash and you kind of disengage, disassociate a little bit, then you're going to have a submissive coming down from the does, the dopamine and the oxytocin and the serotonin and all of that. You're going to have the sub crashing from all of that, even more emotionally raw. And then you are going to disassociate, detach without communicating. It's going to make the submissive spiral. And the submissive is probably going to start spiraling and going to reach out to you for validation, reassurance, etc. You're not going to get the rest that you need to process and calm down. You're going to trigger the submissive. Bam, 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 bam. So you can fix the issues without being overtly dominant, but I think you can if you so desire. It seems to get Raven very excited by the idea. You with me? You tracking? Okay. Did I answer your question? You got anything else? Any other questions? Any other context that you feel would be pertinent for me? Not at the moment. Okay. But you're good? You're good? I can kind of leave you with that to gnaw on for a minute. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. So let's see. 7:50. Yes, we are wrapping it up for the evening, but we got through 8 questions. 8 questions in almost 2 hours when my goal was 12 questions in 60 minutes, but it's fine. So, might be a record. No, I think we actually did have a proper rapid fire Q&A a few weeks ago. I thought we've made it. I thought we've had more than these questions before. You get a trophy and you get a trophy. Yes. Yes. Quality over quantity. Little Lemon. Love it. Swooping in for the win on that one. I feel so validated. Thank you so much. So everyone, as we start Fantastic Evening, glad you be a part of it. I'm so glad you could be a part of it too, Admiral Riker. So glad you're here. Thank you so much. So glad you feel that way, Raven. Do you still feel loved? Would I still be able to give you a hug if I wanted to? Always terrific quality here because I have the best peeps ever, including you, John. Thank you so much for everything that you do. All of my admins. Can we give all of my admins a round of applause right now? Jem starting it off. My admins are so amazing. Thank you so much, admins, for holding down the fort every day. All of the amazing work that you do. Answering questions, getting people in the community, hooking them up with the information that they need. My admins are amazing. So thank you so much to Sir Joe, to John, to Kajira, to Rob, and to Shy. You are all very, very amazing. All right. All right, let's get drunk. Rob. Yes, Rob wants to party. Rob wants to party. Rob wants to party. I feel like Rob and I need to have a friend date where we get drunk and watch The Office and possibly record it for all of you. I feel like that needs to happen. You are awesome. Yes, everyone. Thank you so much. You feel loved? Okay, good. Good. I think that would be the funniest shit you all have ever seen. Do it. Okay, Rob, would that not be? Let's go. Yes. Office, friend date, marathon. Yes. Rob. Okay, Rob, we're going to have to get Mr. B a little tipsy too. And here's the key with Mr. B. Whiskey makes him frisky and rum makes him fun, Rob. So we're going to have some yummy drinks and all get a little crazy. I love it. And you know what? We are going to watch The Office on one of our community movie nights. I promise. We will do that. My pleasure, Justin. I'm so glad you were able to hang out with us today. It sounds like a rum night, right? Or road trip. Let's get this done. Rum cha-chas for Mr. B. Rum cha-cha? What's a rum cha-cha? In Spanish class, that was my nickname. It was something cha-cha. Oh, what was the first name? Can't remember. But what's a rum cha-cha? And this is as distracted as I'm letting you all get me right now. Oh, hello, Walter. Hello, Walter and Admiral. Okay, that's very, very cute. Admiral, you're going to have to show off more Walter pics in our Jamie Cakes channel. It's totally great that you posted it here. I love that. I'm so glad that we got to meet your fur baby. But you can also post all of the puppy content you want in the Jamie Cakes channel. We're always doting over each other's fur babies. Rum cha-cha. What is that? So it's not a Mr. Grouse. It's not a drink that you concoct. It's a liqueur. Wands loves rum cha-cha. How have I never? What is it? Is it a liqueur? It looks like liqueur with rum. So do you just drink that straight or do you mix it with something? What is going on? It's like horchata with rum. That really helps out. It's like Bailey's, but with rum. Thank you, Bayonets. I know what Bailey's is, but with rum. But Bailey's already has liquor in it. See, now they're just getting me so confused. This is an amazingly insightful experience. Thanks for having me. I always learn the new things. Oh, good. Good. Oh, I'm so glad, Little Lemon. We love you so much. Justin. Oh, that's on my list of movies, community movies. You'll just bring the bottle and we can all discover it together. Okay. Done deal. Done deal. It's like, hey, I'm a problem solver. All right. I got this. All right, everyone, including all of you wonderful souls on YouTube. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Again, if you want to join this wonderful community of crazy kinksters, go over to patreon.com/AlexErotica. You can join this community, support this YouTube channel, and get some awesome exclusive content, including, if you have not seen or heard, my Red Room Hotel and Spa DIY Kinky Staycation Kit is now on Patreon. Just in time for Valentine's Day. It's this whole create your own role play fantasy weekend. I'm sure you and your partner will love it. It is so fantastic. How many people are going to do it for Valentine's Day? Raise your hand. Do we have anyone that's considering doing it? We are? You are? Yes, yes. So we got 2 people so far that are doing it. 2, yes. Love it. So yes, you can also get that, get access to that, join this community, and support this content and this channel all at once. Patreon.com/AlexErotica. Technically 4. Yay, technically 4. Good, good, good. Well, if I don't see you again, YouTube, before Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. I'm going to go wrap it up with my peeps, and I wish you all a wonderful evening. Good night, YouTube.